Hey, Eastern Michigan family, what is going on? My name is Taquanda Johnson, social media strategist here at Eastern, and welcome back. If you have been joining us to our Black History 365 series, we have had some phenomenal individuals with us throughout this series. So first and foremost, we want to thank you for tuning in and keeping it locked right here at 12 o'clock during the month of February for our Black History 365. And today I have the honor of sitting down and having a candid conversation with my sorority sister, and as well as your new Regent Dr. Jessie Kimbrough Marshall. I'm excited about you being able to understand and get to know her just a little bit more. She's an EMU alum, and I'm going to go into her bio. But before we go into all of that, I want to make sure that you guys know we are talking all about Black History 365. So if you have any questions concerning today's topic, you can go on ahead and hit them in the comment box, and we will make sure that we acknowledge them. Now, if you have questions that are not pertaining to today's topic, I do ask that you refrain. Please, ma'am, please, sir. Don't ask them during this time, but we do welcome them through email. So go on ahead and shoot your email over to us at social_media@emich.edu, and we will make sure that we answer all of your questions. Again, we want to make sure that we answer them in the right format. So go on ahead and shoot over your questions at social_media@emich.edu. So without further ado, I'm excited about you meeting Regent Dr. Jessie Kimbrough. She was appointed by Governor Whitmer in December, so she's one of our newest regents, and I'm excited to have her part of this team. Just a little bit about her: she's a Detroit native, and she is an EMU alum, graduating in 1995, and after that she attended medical school and completed internal medicine pediatrics residency at Wayne State School of Medicine. Later, she got her master's in public health at Harvard School of Public Health, and followed that up by going to Johns Hopkins. Just a little bit about what she does as of late. Regent Dr. Kimbrough Marshall has worked with faith-based, community-based, as well as healthcare organizations in Michigan and throughout the U.S. to present as far as town halls are concerned regarding COVID-19 prevention, safety, and racial disparities. She volunteers at a mobile COVID-19 testing and flu vaccination clinics in southeastern Michigan. When I say Dr. Jessie has it going on, Regent Dr. Jessie has it going on, and I'm excited to be able to talk to her a little bit about what she's doing within the community as well as for Eastern. Welcome, my sorority sister and your new regent, Dr. Jessie Kimbrough Marshall. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much, Sor, for that fantastic intro. You got me excited.
Listen, I am so pumped. As we were talking backstage before everything started, this has been a pleasure to be able to sit down and have a candid conversation with all different individuals when it comes to just what they're doing within the community, how they're paving the way, and most importantly, during this month, talking about our culture and educating others and amplifying Black voices. So I'm excited to be able to, sit down and talk to you, and for folks to feel and know what I already know concerning you, and they being able to get a firsthand look. As I was telling Regent Jeffries, a lot of times, speaking to individuals who are at Eastern, even outside of Eastern, they feel like the regents are untouchable, right? Like they just sit in this high place and you just know that they make decisions, but you don't, really don't know the individual behind the position that they sit in. So this gives us an opportunity to get to know you just a little bit better, and I'm excited. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Now, I know that I read the bio, but I love hearing from you. Like, tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what you've been doing, especially since you're not just a regent, but you, ma'am, are an alum of our beloved university.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about it.
Yeah. So, let's see about myself. I have two daughters. One's in college, one's in high school. We have a dog, Pepper. She's 3 years old, and Pepper and I have been spending a lot of time together since this treacherous pandemic hit. Um,
Mhm.
as you had mentioned, we're sorors. We are of Alpha
Yes.
Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And let's see what else about me. I'm a cable news junkie. Um, I'm still trying to understand and learn social media things like Twitter. I don't know. I don't know what else. What else would
We
you like
got
to
you
know?
covered. We got you
Okay.
covered
Okay.
concerning Twitter and all the things, as I say, and all
Okay.
the things. So
Okay. Okay.
so tell us a little bit about like now transitioning. I mean, I know that you are a doctor and you've been playing a huge part in educating individuals when it comes to racial disparities, as well as COVID-19 and what we're dealing concerning that. So I want to dive into that before we talk about you being the regent, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
so share with us about that.
Yeah, so I am, anyone who knows me knows I am very passionate about health equity and social justice. And as a
Mhm.
physician, I believe it is important for physicians to use their platform to help advance and advocate for health equity and social justice. Growing up in Detroit, I thought it was normal to see loved ones dying in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. It wasn't actually until I got to Eastern EMU. I was in a freshman English composition class and
Mhm.
was told to pick any topic that I wanted. It would serve as the medium by which to learn English composition. So everybody in the class, everybody chose some topic that was of interest to them. And I chose the state of Black America. And in doing so, I came to better understand that what I had become accustomed to growing up um, was health disparities. It was not normal. What I was seeing, what I was living was due to health disparities. And
Uh-huh.
so that really solidified my wanting to go into public health and wanting to be a advocate and leader as it comes to moving and pushing the needle on health equity and social justice.
And you have been doing just that. Like I've watched, your Twitter, and I've seen what you've been doing, and it has filled my heart with so much joy being able to watch you move in that space. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what you're doing as far as like our present day and dealing with, COVID-19 and prevention. I know we shared a couple of videos when you took your
Ah,
vaccination. Like, so talk to us a little bit about that.
yeah. So when this pandemic first hit the states, like a lot of people, I didn't know, what the extent of it would be. I thought, like many others, that
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is going to be like a 2 week deal.
Right.
We'll self quarantine at home, get some extra snacks. And when that became apparent, no, that was not how this is going to go. I also started hearing about the racial disparities. I started seeing pictures in local and national news about the toll that this pandemic was
Mm-hmm.
having, especially on communities of color and vulnerable populations.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and wow, I just it really did something to me, and it
Mm-hmm.
really called on me to use all my experiences and skill sets to do whatever I could in my piece of the world, my corner of the world, to try um to help make a difference, And so I got to writing op-eds, and then I started giving webinars or virtual town halls with
Mm-hmm.
churches, and then somebody at another church would see it or be told about it, and I got invited to another church, and so I was doing these webinars in various parts of the country. And then I started helping with COVID-19 testing, mobile clinics, going out into the community. I'm all about community outreach, going out into the
Yes.
community. University of Michigan Community Health Services office. And so then we started doing flu shots. And then I got involved with Wayne State. University, Wayne Health, and doing COVID testing out in the community, largely at Black churches.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at right now. And I love feeling that I'm trying to make a difference. I'm not sure
Absolutely.
it, but yeah.
Well, listen, you are most definitely making a difference. I know that I've seen so many and outside of Eastern, as dealing with the faith-based audience, as well as, getting in the community and making a difference. Like, I've seen so many individuals who are opening up their churches, even their parking lots, and even, some other places, organizations that are doing just that to ensure that individuals are getting the testing that they need in the time frame that they need it. So thank you so much for doing the work, as we say, doing the work. So I really, really appreciate that. Now I want to talk a little bit about, like, you being the newest regent, to the bunch, and how important it is for you. Like, how important is this position as a regent to you, and what are you looking forward to?
Yeah. So when this opportunity first presented itself to me, I thought to myself, huh, this is different. I'm accustomed to being in the healthcare world, the public health world. And so I thought, well, this is my alma mater. I love EMU. I am a Eagle through and through. And
Yes.
so, for that fact
Mhm.
alone, having the opportunity to give back to the university that I really got my educational foundation from, was really all that I needed,
Mhm.
to say yes. I want to go ahead and go for this opportunity. And so I just feel like it's full circle being able to serve in this role as a regent, bringing my skill sets with knowledge of health equity, the social determinants of health,
Mhm.
diversity, equity, and inclusion, and public health. Um, it's just it's quite an honor, and I'm so excited to be a part of such a diverse group of
Yes.
people who all love the university so much.
Ah, so you just had your first board of regents
Yes,
review. We talked
yes,
about that a little bit backstage.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, how was that? You talk about full circle, coming back and being in the position that you're in right now, in order to, give back, in order to see change, on our campus for our students, faculty, and staff. So how was your very first regents meeting?
It was great. It was great. I didn't quite know what to expect, but I had so much help and support, from various folks, including my peers, my fellow board of regents, and it was well. I think I couldn't have asked for a better first meeting. We heard from faculty, we heard from students, student athletes.
Mhm.
Um, it was great. It was absolutely.
Well, I'm glad that your experience was amazing, and I had to ask because only a regent can tell you, like, ooh, like if it was good or if it was like, yeah, I don't know who's expecting. So to know that it was exactly what you expected and you received the support that you needed, that right there speaks volumes. So talking as, like, an advocate in a position, and moving the needle, like, when it comes to social justice and health and, and equity, like, share with us, like, the importance of Black history in that moment, right? Like, you spoke about the fact of how, especially when it comes to health disparities, like, we just think, unfortunately, like, oh, well, this is the way things were or the way things are supposed to be. So let's talk a little bit more about that, and, like, dispelling those myths and Black history, and creating and paving a new way for our generations.
Yeah, thank you for that question. That's a great question. So, the Corner Health Center, which is in Ypsilanti, Michigan, I was asked by the executive director to write a little short piece health related article about Black History Month. And so what I did was, and I think it's going to be coming out sometime next week. I wrote about what I'm going to tell you answers your question. So,
I'm with you.
yeah. I talked about Black History Month. First week of the month began as a way to celebrate the contributions of Black folks, African Americans, and then to also give remembrance to significant events that have occurred here in the United States. And it's also a time for reflection about the continued struggle and
Mm,
fight for racial justice. And so I think about the importance of Black history, which is American history, which
absolutely.
as you all so thoughtfully have shared, it needs to be celebrated 365 days a year.
Mhm.
It is American history. It is
It
American history.
is.
Yeah. I thought about that in the times that we're in right now, in this
Mhm.
pandemic, that is disproportionately impacting communities of color, and particularly Black communities. And I thought about how years from now, there will be school students opening up their history books
Yes.
and reading about the great COVID-19 pandemic
Mhm.
of 2020, of 2021. I hope we're not getting to 2022 with this.
Listen,
Uh,
I'm praying
yeah.
against it.
Yes, yes, yes. And I thought about these school children reading their books and seeing how and reading about how the pandemic took so many lives, devastated so many lives, and then reading that especially um, the lives of Blacks, of African
Mhm.
Americans here in the U.S., how so many lives were lost, disproportionately lost, so many communities of color devastated. Also, on the financial end of it, with issues with food insecurity, housing insecurity.
Mhm.
Um, and I thought, we have the power. We have the power um, and we have to claim it. We have to claim it. The power to
Right.
redirect that history.
Yes.
Um, and we have it right now today, each and every one of us, to follow the public health guidance that's being put out by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, the
Mhm.
state, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, our local health departments follow the guidelines. Wearing a mask, covering your nose and mouth, washing your hands frequently, staying at least 6 feet away from other people, avoiding large crowds, especially in enclosed places, not having people in your home who don't live
Mhm.
there, especially if you have loved ones who are high risk in your home, like elderly and folks who are immunocompromised, and getting vaccinated when
Yes.
it's your turn. I thought about how if we all followed this public health guidance and then not only followed it, but committed to only getting our information from trusted and reputable sources like the CDC,
Ooh, that
like
right
the Michigan
there.
Department of Health and Human Services, like our local health departments, like our primary care providers, getting information from reputable sources,
Mhm.
and sharing that with our loved ones, encouraging them, encouraging our young folks to do all of this public health guidance, to follow this public health guidance and to follow the science. I thought about how doing that, each and every one of us, and then collectively doing that, how we can redirect,
Yeah.
how we can claim our power so that when school children, 50, 100 years from now, they're looking back on this time, they will read the impact of the pandemic disproportionately affected communities of color, but then something changed in
Mm,
2021, and communities of color claimed their power
that's
and
good.
came together and followed the public health guidance and supported one another. And there was a marked drop off in deaths. There was a marked drop off in the loss of Black lives, because we do matter. We do matter.
We do
And
matter. That's right.
so that's what Black history means to me, in terms of claiming our power to redirect the history that is being made right now.
Ooh, that gave me chills. I absolutely love it. I want to make sure that I'm acknowledging some of the comments that we are getting in the comment section over at Facebook. We have Tracy Davy Patterson says, saying, she was like, Dr. Jessie, even pre-pandemic, thank you for advocating for health disparities, chronic health diseases like sickle cell disease in and around the city of Detroit. Your presence is in the healthcare space invaluable. We have
Now, let
another.
me can I just say one word about
Go for
Tracy
it.
Davy?
Yes.
So yes, she is my stand, she's my line sister, but not that I'm biased towards her, but she has been so exemplary on being on the front line of being an advocate for sickle cell disease.
Yes,
Her
she has.
mother, was affected by sickle cell disease and died early, young, from
Mhm.
complications of it. Tracy, I have looked at Tracy Davy and been so inspired by her tireless work and advocating and promoting and pushing the needle on of advancing justice, social justice, health justice
Mhm.
for folks who are affected by sickle cell disease. And here in the United States, that largely are Black folks. And so
Absolutely.
I applaud her. She is a health hero. I applaud her.
Yes, yes. I love it because I too have family members who, deal with sickle cell, and I have watched them. So just to see her and know what she's doing within the community, me knowing her personally, it brings joy to my heart. So thank you both for what you do. We have another comment by Raquel Moss. Raquel Moss. Am I saying it right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dr. J, Catherine Love, thank you for being such a huge support and advocate for my son. Your wealth of knowledge and passion is rare. So again, thank you. I'm loving the comments. I
Yeah.
keep
I want to
commenting.
say one word
Go
about her
for it.
also. Yes, she is another one of my Sands and Line
Yes.
sisters. And I don't know if all of them are going to jump on here, but I want to say Yolanda Oliver Yancey, she is another one who I say is a healthcare hero. Her son, Gregory, he's like my godson, he's my nephew. Um,
Mhm.
he has a congenital disorder affecting his heart.
Wow.
And it has some other related health issues. And
Mhm.
she, from the time he was born, she has so lovingly nurtured him, fought for him in the healthcare system, which all too often um, can have healthcare disparities. I hate to even think about it, but it's true. It's a reality that people of color have in this country, including
Yeah.
people in rural areas, urban areas, and low socioeconomic backgrounds. But nevertheless, she has stood through the storms in advocating for his health and the health of other children who also have the George syndrome. And so I applaud her again. It's people like her and Jessie Davy who are health heroes. They're not trained in the healthcare professions, but they're on the front lines of advocating and pushing for better health for their loved ones in the communities affected. That it just inspires me to do my part and to do what I can. So I applaud her.
So I thank each and every person, who have literally stepped up, like you mentioned. Like sometimes, unfortunately, in this space, like we have to, especially healthcare, like we have to advocate for ourselves, because sometimes there aren't, individuals there to advocate for folks that look like us,
Yes.
and so it's amazing how we are most definitely taking control in that area and doing what's best, in order for not just for us, but ultimately, for our community. So I wanted to make sure that I brought that up. So even as like knowing how we're paving the way, who has paved the way for you to get you to where you are today?
Yeah, so paved the way. So I'm going to answer this question in two parts.
Go for
So I don't want to sound cliche, but my mom. I know a lot of people go, my mother. My
it.
my mom it came from the rural South. Like my father. They came with their family as young children, escaping the treachery, the racist treachery of the South at the time in terms of the Jim Crow era laws and the legacy of that, and racial discrimination. It came up north, like a lot of other African Americans, looking really came up north as refugees, quite frankly, from
Mhm.
the South, looking for a better life, looking for safety, looking for economic opportunities by way of job opportunities.
Mhm.
And in doing that, my father, he died when I was 9. He
Mhm.
died in his 30s. He was 32.
Wow.
Yeah. And my mom, she raised us as a single mother,
Mhm.
my 4 siblings and I. And she instilled in us that education was essential to breaking chains of poverty. I'm a first
Ooh.
generation college graduate. And so
Yes, yes, you
um,
are.
So while both my parents, they had some college, neither one of them graduated, but they pushed and they promoted education, and
Mhm.
how that was really essential to breaking intergenerational cycles of poverty. Frederick Douglass,
Ooh.
I love a quote from him. He says that um, education makes a man or woman unfit to be a slave.
Mm.
And so it
Mhm.
was instilling that that passion for educational betterment,
Mhm.
and also putting and instilling in me an awareness of of activism, of trying to
Yes.
make your neighborhood and your community a better place, and never giving up on that. It was all of that that my mom instilled in me that helped to pave the way for me to be where I am now. When I had those long nights at
Ooh.
Eastern, tackling those organic chemistry books, and I was in medical school at Wayne State,
Mhm.
having tests every 2 weeks,
Ooh.
and just really just feeling like, oh, going to church, getting prayed on. I gotta go to this.
'Cause it's a lot.
Yeah, it was all that had been instilled in me that
Mhm.
helped to give me the resilience and the fortitude to keep going, keep pushing,
Ooh.
going. It's not just for you that you're doing this; it's for your community. Keep going. And so, I would really say she helped to pave the way for me. And then I told you I'm going to answer that question in two parts.
Go for it.
And then, um, um, the folks who in the 50s and in the 60s who were
Mm.
civil rights activists. It was so many people. I can't name a name, and I'm talking about everyday folk who
Yeah.
said, we are going to collectively. What is that? Ujima, one of the Kwanzaa principles. We are
Yeah.
going to collectively come together
Mhm.
and fight against the oppression of racism. And we're going to do that through the civil rights movement. It was moms and dads sending their young children to schools to break
Ooh.
segregation. I don't even know if I could do that,
Right.
having hatefulness directed towards my 6 year old and sending them to
Mhm.
the school. It was people of all different colors, of all different stripes, going into the deep parts of the South and getting people registered to vote and losing their lives, losing their lives. It was those four little girls in
Mm.
that church in Birmingham that was four little girls that was present,
Right.
that was blew up. It was all of the folks in the 50s and the 60s who risked their lives. Again, so many that I can't even name. I can't even name that risked their lives to try to make the world a better and a fair place. And they inspire me. They inspire me every day to do my part, to further make the world a better and a fairer place for all people.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Now, talking about like that legacy, right? That those individuals who have literally made a difference so that we can get to the point, where we are today. Like how important is leaving a legacy and paving the way for like future generations, like you mentioned, like your daughters, like how do you feel the importance of like leaving that legacy and doing your part, especially like I believe that each person has a part to play. Like I love the fact that you mentioned this, and I say this passionately, all the time. It's like I can only control what's in my backyard. I can't control, what Atlanta is doing and what, California may be doing, but I can control Western Wayne County because I can do what I can do,
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
area. So let's
yeah.
talk a little bit about legacy and the importance of legacy so that we can pave the way for future generations.
Yeah, I think it is so important. I think that even before legacy, I'm reminded of Bishop T.D. Jakes, and I remember hearing him in a sermon talk about there is so much talent in the grave. There are
Mm.
so many people who have died and did not actualize, did not realize the talents that were instilled in them. And so I believe that each and every one of us has a talent, has a purpose. That if we realize it, if we actualize that talent, it will make the world a better place. It will positively affect humanity, and it will leave a legacy. It will leave a legacy for the betterment of all, for the betterment of our children, of our grandchildren, and so forth. And so, with that being said, I think it's extraordinarily important. It is my belief. It is my belief
Mhm.
that we're here on this earth. We're not just here to exist. We're here to
Mhm.
live, and not just live, but leave something behind, something of value, something that can help someone else. And that's a belief that I share. Others might not
Mhm.
share that. I've actually come across some folks who don't necessarily think that way. But yeah, I think it's vastly important.
Listen, I am totally with you on that one. As I always say, it's important to live life on purpose with a purpose, right? So that right there speaks volumes. So knowing that we're talking about like leaving a legacy, but how can we learn from Eastern's past to embrace the future? As you know, from being an alum, and we've seen our share of racial injustice on campus, and things of sort, even years past, even when I was on campus from 2000 2005, and then most recent to 2016, and then there was another one at like 17. So let's talk a little bit about how we can learn from the past in order to embrace and move forward in our future
Uh,
as a
so,
university.
yep. So, Easterns experience with racial injustice, as you've mentioned, is not unique. We can go to universities across the country and hear very similar stories. In some cases, worse
Yeah.
stories of historical racial insult and whatnot, because the universities represent a microcosm of our larger society. If we have
Mhm.
a society, which we do, that is built on racial inequality and racial oppression,
Mhm.
and we have the legacy of that is permeated through all aspects of our society and perpetuated through policies and through culture. Um, then you will see in higher education, in healthcare, in law enforcement. I can just go on and on and on.
Yeah.
The effects of
Mhm.
racism and how you have populations of people, in the case we're talking about Black folks, who are marginalized and who are
Mhm.
disproportionately impacted with poverty, with the consequences of poverty being chronic disease, with all those social determinants of health that causes life expectancy to be shorter than the general population. And
Right.
so when you ask how can we learn from the past to direct our future, one is to understand that past. I can tell you,
Ooh,
um, being in
that's
public
good.
health, all too often, and I'm not trying to preach.
Go there. Go there.
All too often, I sat in meetings,
Mhm.
community meetings, here, in Michigan and other parts of the country, where trying to address those root causes affecting the lives, the community of color, trying to address the root causes of social determinants of health, was there's always like a lot of pushback. Oh, that's too
Mhm.
complicated. That's bigger than what we can do. Let's go for the low hanging fruit. Let's go for those downstream determinants. And while that definitely has a place, um, I'm putting my doctor hat on now, my medical doctor hat on. If someone comes in with a festering wound, a
Ooh.
festering sore, if you just put a band-aid on it, I mean, that's gonna maybe help, stop the drainage. It's gonna help take it out of sight. And so that bandage, that band-aid, it has some positive things that it can do, but ultimately it's not gonna address the root causes of what needs to be done with that festering wound.
Mhm.
You need some IND, incision and drainage. You need to figure out what caused the infection so you can prevent it from occurring. You need to get some antibiotics, maybe some IV fluids, and you need to
Mhm.
fundamentally address um, the pathology
Ooh.
that is going on with the patient.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, if you just put band-aids on, then you're covering things up, you're stopping drainage, but you're
Mm-hmm.
not fundamentally making a difference, right?
Right.
That's, that's,
Right.
that's the hard work, right? That's the hard
Mm-hmm.
work. And we have seen with our eyes in 2020 what a
Ooh.
lot of folks call the racial reckoning, particularly after the killing, the massacre
Yeah.
of George Floyd. This pandemic, it caused a lot of us to shut down because we couldn't go nowhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
To open our eyes and to see, the brutality of what happened to this man, and the callous way he was just so casually
Ooh.
killed.
That's,
It,
yeah.
it 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 caused the whole world to stop and to look and to just go, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's taking that, making sure his life is not just to be in vain. His killings is not just to be in vain. It's taking that those windows of opportunity, when we have captured the attention of the nation, of the world, and it's pushing for, it's building allies, it's pushing
Mm-hmm.
for furthering racial equity, racial justice. It's showing our humanity. It's
Ooh.
showing our humanity. Who was
Yeah.
that? Was it Sojourner Truth or was it Harriet Tubman who said, "Ain't I a woman?" you
Yeah.
know, it's
Mm-hmm.
showing that I too bleed like you.
Yep.
I
Right.
too put my pants on one leg at a time, like
One night at a time.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I too love my daughters. I too
Mm-hmm.
love my sons. And so it's that showing the humanity. It's that building allies to make a difference. It's changing the narrative that racial disparities um, is not the norm. It's making
Mm-hmm.
people understand that Black folks and Latinx folks and indigenous populations,
Yes.
Native Americans, American Indians dying in their 30s, their 40s, and 50s that we see so often is helping the world, the nation understand that's not normal. That's not fair. And it's not right. It's helping folks to understand that the U.S. prison system being predominantly
Ooh.
populated with Black and brown bodies, and it is not normal. It's not right. It's
Right.
looking at data. It's looking at how in the mid 1990s with the passage of the criminal acts bill,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I misnamed that passage, and how there was an exponential increase in the
Yeah.
U.S. prison population, exponential increase in the prison population, while also looking at who wasn't being populated, Black and brown bodies, and saying, you know what, something happened here, and it can't just be explained by some folks having a higher propensity to criminality. We
Mm-hmm.
look at some of those institutional policies, those racially
Ooh.
institutional policies that
Go there. Right
don't
there.
it doesn't name race, but it has the same effect of enforcing racism, like the crack cocaine and cocaine sentencing disparities, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
where if you had, I think, was it 25 grams of crack cocaine, that was a mandatory minimum of 5 years compared to 500 grams of
Right.
pure cocaine, getting the same sentencing. And it's like, well, who's using the crack cocaine?
Right.
And
Right.
using the pure cocaine, and it's those disparities that resulted in disproportionate criminalization and sentencing of Black and brown bodies. And so I don't want to get into the weeds of everything, but what I'm trying to say, and I'm bringing it down a little bit, is
Yeah.
that what I'm saying
No,
is that
it's good. It's
uh,
good. Come on and educate people.
yeah,
I
your
love it.
question of how can we learn from our past to direct our
Yes.
future, it's to change the narrative. It's to not
Mm-hmm.
stop at say, oh, COVID-19 pandemic is disproportionately killing Black and brown indigenous folks because they have more chronic disease, because they have higher poverty. It's saying, you know what, no, let's take that narrative back. Let's look
Right.
at, well, why do they have more chronic disease? Well, why do they have more poverty? And looking at racist and discriminatory laws like housing policies, like redlining of the 1930s
Ooh.
40s
Yes.
where Black folks and immigrants weren't allowed mortgage loans, and
Mhm.
that they lived in were divested. And that set the stage up for disrepair of their houses, and then of their neighborhoods, and then of the tax base that supports the public K through 12 education, leaving these communities in segregated and concentrated poverty that's passed on generation to generation to generation,
Yeah.
um, and
Mhm.
influencing what we call those social determinants of health. Where you live, where you work, where you pray, if you pray,
Right.
where you play,
Mhm.
and looking at that and looking at those root causes affecting health, and directing some to have opportunities and others not having opportunities. It's looking at all of that. It's understanding those root causes and changing the narratives, and stopping blaming the victim. Quite frankly, stopping to blame the people who are affected from racist policies, and recognizing that they are really victims of racist policies.
Mhm.
Um, it's understanding all of that is what we can do to correct the past, in terms of affecting our future and putting us on a course to racial equity, to racial justice, to giving all people, the opportunity for higher education,
Yes.
and being able to have the tools to not just get into those colleges, but to
But
matriculate and graduate from those
yes,
colleges.
we need you to stay. Like we need you to stay. Yes, that is so. Oh, my heart is so full. I am loving this conversation. If you are catching us, just dropping in, we are sitting down having a candid conversation. EMU Black History 365 with Regent Dr. Jessie Kimbrough Marshall, and I am so full. Our comments of everyone coming in and watching today's broadcast they're blowing us up. So thank you for everyone who has tuned in. Thank you, Dr. Jessie, for just your opportunity to have a candid conversation with you on this very deals. Like, we, as you can see, everybody is excited. James Fletcher says, "Good to see you." So we most definitely again, there's some others, thank you again for your medical advice and wisdom when he was dealing with COVID last year. Like, that's a big deal. So thank you everyone who joined on. Thank you to the amazing Sisters of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I love you guys. We love you guys so much for tuning on in. Had to throw it up real quick for y'all. So thank you. So again, thank you everybody for watching. Again, make sure that you stay locked with us. Thank you so much again for joining us here. As Sora Mia says, we're so glad and we're so happy to have you here as our regent. And I'm excited about all that's coming. I'm excited about us, doing amazing work here at the university for our students, our faculty, and our staff. And again, thanks everybody for watching today. Make sure that you stay locked right here on our Facebook page, where we will be back next week interviewing some amazing individuals starting Monday at 12 o'clock. So make sure that you set your notifications to join us again. Thank you for joining us for Black History 365. There's my personal. So yeah. So thank you everyone again, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
All right.